Welcome to Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome. Thanks for being with us. 888-900-3393. Also, Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Big night. It's the conclusion of the college football season tonight. TCU versus Georgia. Hard to believe it's going to be over after tonight. Man, it went by fast. Wow. NFL playoffs begin next week. That'll be fun. Yesterday in the NFL, after having 0 BYU running backs rush for 1,000 yards in a single season.
Wait,
none.
ever?
It's never happened. No,
What?
in the NFL.
What?
Never. BYU, we're not exactly running back you. We're quarterback you.
Okay. What happened?
So
what happened?
It happened twice in the same day, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
2 former Cougars reached that milestone yesterday. Tyler Algier with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, look at this. Falcons talk from Pat.
Over 1,000 yards this season.
He looked so good yesterday, too. Falcons fans yesterday.
He got better as the season went on.
Right. I'll keep this very brief. Our rookies, our quarterback, wide receiver, and our running back.
There's a future for the Falcons.
Yeah. We wanted the season to keep going after yesterday. Yeah.
Desmond Ridder looks pretty good, too.
Yeah, exactly. And Drake
Former
London.
Cincinnati quarterback. So
passing to Drake London.
But Tyler Algier, man, broke the all-time rookie rushing record for the Falcons. That was a record that had stood for 44 years.
Andrew Williams, yeah.
Not bad for a walk-on kid who just walked on to the BYU football team. And then Jamal Williams from Detroit also surpassed 1,000 yards yesterday. So really kind of cool. All the Green Bay Packers had to do against the Lions, though, was win. That's it. Win, you're in. Couldn't get that done. Against we're not talking about the 85 Bears. It's the Detroit Lions. Just win your last game of the season against a crappy team. Nope, couldn't do it. Could not do it. Lost 20-16. So Falcons, Packers, neither one of them in the playoffs.
Jaguars are in, though.
Jags are
That's
in.
all that matters.
A year after going, was it 2-14, 2-15?
Yeah, 14 lost seasons back to back.
With Urban Meyer. Boy, he looks bad now. He looks terrible because with virtually the same team, the next season they make the playoffs, man. So NFC next week, the wild card weekend, Seattle at San Francisco. In the NFC, in the AFC, it's Los Angeles Chargers against Jacksonville. That's all on Saturday. Then on Sunday, Miami Buffalo and New York Giants, Minnesota Vikings. Also Baltimore at Cincinnati. Oh, that's the 5th. Yeah, okay. So that's next Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. And then on Monday night, they're going to stretch it out to Monday night now. Yeah. Is that the first?
Second time.
Okay. Dallas and Tampa Bay.
I mean, you saw this one coming
next
for
Monday
weeks.
night.
Cowboys were going to be locked into the 5 seed. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will be locked into the 4 seed. You just knew this was going to be the Monday night matchup. And I don't know if you had a chance to see any of the Buffalo Bills game yesterday. DeMar Hamlin in the hospital watching. First play of the game, run back for a kickoff.
Oh, wow.
By the Bills. I mean, it's
nice.
And so many people online were like,
that's great.
That's a conspiracy theory, they let that happen.
Oh, stop
Whatever,
it.
man. The Patriots were trying to get in the playoffs. I don't think they were going to let that happen.
No, I don't think so. Something the NFL needs to fix is Tampa Bay being a higher seed than Dallas.
Yep.
What is Dallas's record? 12-5? 13-4? Something like that?
I don't know.
And what is Tampa Bay? 9-8? 8-9?
That's 8-9.
8-9.
That's good enough to win you the NFC
And
South.
they're a higher seed than That's wrong. That's just stupid and wrong.
12-5 will be at 8-9.
Doesn't make any sense.
Hey, you're a division winner.
Are you kidding me?
You get gifted a home game.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, you need to fix that. That's ridiculous. You can't have. I mean, you get in a crappy division like the NFC South. Is that what it is?
That's
NFC
what it is.
South was this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have 8 and 9 win the division. No, they should not be seated ahead of a 12-5 team. ridiculous.
Oh, by the way, real quick, on his way off the field last night, let's see, Aaron Rodgers was asked by, I think it was Jameson Williams, asked him if he could have his jersey. And Aaron Rodgers said, I think I'm going to keep this one.
Yeah, because it's his last one with the Packers.
Yeah, so the speculation begins.
Yeah, he's done.
That doesn't sound promising.
He's not really making much of a secret about it. I think he's done.
Okay.
So the Packers will hopefully, I don't know, maybe draft. In the draft, they'll get a good quarterback because they don't have one now.
You get Derek Carr. He'll be available.
Yeah, Derek Carr.
On the old market.
Probably. Mm-hmm. That's a possibility. I'm thinking somebody younger, maybe somebody with a future. And it's not Jordan Love. He's not the guy. And if they insist on believing he is, they're going to be sorry, I'm afraid. But we'll see. We'll see. Over the weekend, there are so many stories about people suddenly dying or dying suddenly. It seems to be a whole new category of cause of death. Died suddenly. How many times are we hearing that term lately? Mm-hmm. So-and-so died suddenly. Otherwise completely healthy 30-year-old. Otherwise completely healthy 20-year-old. Well, over the weekend, it was worse than that. There were 18-year-olds dying suddenly. 16. It doesn't make any sense. We've got to look into it. Just, I don't know, do a little research. Be honest. Let's figure out what this is so we can put a stop to it. This mixed martial arts phenom, she was 18 years old. Victoria Lee died suddenly at 18. On the day after Christmas, she died. Super talented, up-and-coming MMA fighter. And now she's gone. They don't know why.
Wow.
She just died.
Before we did the show this morning, you and I were talking, and you said the 18-year-old. And I said, oh, the one from Oklahoma, Trista? And
Nope.
you said, no, I'm talking about a different 18-year-old that died suddenly.
Yeah,
and
from Hawaii.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's never ending. What was it, the 16-year-old?
16-year-old flag football player. Yeah. She died. High school student died from Desert Oasis High School in Las Vegas. Collapsed after going to the bench on Thursday, experiencing chest problems. Her family doesn't know what happened there either. She died. 17-year-old Wyoming basketball player died suddenly after a medical event. Yeah, well, if you're going to die, there probably is a medical event of some kind that's happening. So they don't know why he died. He's a straight-A student, really good basketball player. People loved him, super popular in school. Died suddenly.
On Christmas Day, there's a municipality in Britain, Durham, and there were 8 sudden deaths on Christmas morning.
My gosh.
That authorities had to respond to.
In one area.
In one area.
London.
And the first thing I thought about when I saw that was there's a website, howbadismybatch.com. And you can go and see which, reports of instances, and this is in the United States, I believe, for that one. But I wonder, oh my gosh, did a whole bunch of people get a bad batch there in that one particular town the same time? And then the excitement of Christmas morning? I mean, this is...
Who knows? We just don't know.
But
they won't.
Edge right
they
now.
refuse to even look into it. They refuse to even consider the possibility. And that's all we're asking. Just consider the possibility and look into it.
Yeah, there's apparently a popular gospel singer over the weekend that died in Atlanta, Georgia. He was 44. We saw video of an Old Dominion basketball player over the weekend.
He collapsed.
Collapsed down.
But I think he survived, right?
He survived, yeah. It was a game that was shown on ESPN. People are seeing this, and people and what was it? 1 in 4 know somebody who has died suddenly without explanation.
Yep. Our friend Randy Lemon from Houston.
So sad, man.
When we worked at KPRC and KTRH in Houston, he did a show called Garden Line on the weekends. A really popular gardening show.
Yeah.
He's really good at it. He did it for 27 years. Just a good guy.
He's a natural.
He just died. Now, they say this was from a stroke. They don't say he died suddenly, but he had complications due to a stroke, apparently. But our thoughts and prayers are with Randy Lemon's family and the family at KTRH and KPRC there, because that's really sad.
Yeah, and
he'll be missed.
Just a really good guy. You talked about Damar Hamlin and what happened to him. He's made a miraculous recovery so far.
Doing much better, apparently. But they said he's still in critical condition.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the doctor explained why they're leaving him on that. It was something. I forgot what it was. But did you see the sports reporter in Tampa who received a message from someone? So I don't know if this is a Buccaneers player that sent him this text, but after the Damar Hamlin thing happened, this reporter got this text. It says, "If I die from a sudden heart attack or drop dead, I believe 100% it's from the COVID vaccine I received in 2021. I want you to be my voice and fight for me if I somehow pass. This may seem extreme, but recently I've had more than a few people I've known to be healthy individuals just drop out of nowhere with no explanation. The vaccine being the common thing and being the thing they all had in common." So,
now we're not saying that. We're not saying that. No. He is.
Right. That was an athlete that...
Man.
The fact that people are even having to put this into their calculus. I mean, again, in the Jaguars-Titans game, this guy tweeted out that his wife at the game, they had a picture of them at the game. Well, she went into cardiac arrest shortly thereafter, and he's asking for prayers online.
Is she in the hospital? She survived?
So far. Yeah. I need to get an update on him. Yeah. So, I mean, but don't question it. Don't question it. And then with an athlete like the
It's un-American that you can't question it.
Right.
It's un-American.
The tennis player, I don't know, Camelia Georgie or whatever, it's coming out now that she may have faked her vaccine card so she could play in tennis tournaments.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Right? Oh,
jeez. Yeah. Are you kidding me? With everything we're seeing?
Right. There were two trains of thought at that time. It was just don't go to places, and just say, I'm not going to participate in society.
Or try to make a living.
Right, try to make a living, right.
But you don't want to take the chance on this unknown vaccine, and it is unknown. I mean, they didn't even test this thing, really, for effectiveness. They admitted they didn't test it for effectiveness. We didn't test it to see if the efficacy was high or not. Well, then how did you claim 95%?
Right, and don't forget, Thursday's Pat Gray Unleashed, we went through some damning evidence. And one of the things we had was Pfizer. The first 44,000 people to get the shot, 22% suffered unknown effects or
side effects.
They unknown outcome or something like that. I mean,
Weird.
over 1 in 5. But really our own Daniel Horowitz, he wrote this article about is the vaccine basically creating these variants and making it more severe, whereas instead of it just fading away and becoming just a blip out there, and in fact, we have the numbers from Australia, the graph from the November and December ICU numbers. Look at this. This is just the last 2 months in Australia. ICU admissions there. Okay, the more doses you have, the more likely you are to be in ICU. Nobody is in the ICU. In fact, just last week in Australia, nobody that had COVID that went to the hospital had been vaccinated. But yet, look at this. ICU admissions, 1 dose, 6. 2 doses, 60. 3 doses, 95. 4 doses or more, 173 of the COVID ICU admissions.
Interesting.
November, December.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And you've got the head of some cardiovascular group saying, we need guidance on this because something's happening. Please help us.
That's what, anybody with a brain is saying. Just to help. Look into it. Do a little research. Stop burying your head in the sand. Stop plugging your ears and saying, la, 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 I can't hear you. Don't worry about, whatever monetary investment you've made into Pfizer and Moderna. Human life is more important.
Yeah, and remember,
act like it.
Remember, CNN had that Dr. Leanna Wen from China who said, remember, we got to do a stick and carrot thing. If people want to be a part of the society, you've got to give them incentive. They have to get vaccinated. She's now out there saying, yeah, I guess we were wrong about that whole, it's going to be worse for you if you don't get the vaccine.
No kidding.
Our bad.
Wow.
Infuriating.
Wow. Amazing. Let me tell you about Upside. If you want to save some money, this is such a great way to do it. You will get money in your account for going to certain places and just getting your gas maybe in a place other than you normally try. Or it might be the station you use all the time. But I'm sick of, cringing at the high price at the pump. I know you are too. The prices at your favorite restaurant are going up. At the grocery store, listen, you will save money. And all you have to do with Upside to get started is download the free Upside app. It's free in the App Store or Google Play. Use my promo code PAT and you'll get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Then you claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. So they'll tell you where to go and what to do. Like, for instance, I use it for gas all the time and find out where it's 11 cents per gallon you'll save, sometimes 15 cents per gallon. It's real. It adds up to real savings.
Yeah, and then you can cash it out. You can just get the cash. You don't have to put it towards something or whatever. You can get the cash out so you can afford a dozen eggs now that are going through the roof.
Yeah, it's not just some scam to get you to go to a certain store and then they'll suck you in to pay more. It's not like that. You get cash back. And you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card, or for Amazon and other brands. So, download the free Upside app, use the promo code PAT, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using the promo code PAT.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Well, we have a Speaker of the House. Yay! 15th ballot on the 15th round of votes. McCarthy finally had enough. Barely got over.
It was so awesome.
Amazing.
I'm such a political geek. I'm sorry. How old am I, Pat? 46, something like that?
Something like that.
In all my time on this planet, there was nothing more entertaining than
this?
In the Capitol than Friday night, watching this go back and forth.
People were inflamed over this on both sides. And, it kind of makes sense. It's important. The Speaker of the House is incredibly important.
Yeah. And people on the left and right, Dan Crenshaw, who were constantly saying, we got to get this done. I don't know. This is third in line for the presidency. I think it's a pretty important thing. We can take a few days to do this. I love this tweet from Rob Smith, who said it succinctly. He said, the same people who have told you it's perfectly normal to take weeks to elect a president are freaking out that it's taking more than 24 hours to elect a House Speaker.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Really good. And really, there was no massive hurry on this. There was no reason to freak out over it.
Nope.
We had time. When does the session start? The 23rd?
Right.
It is January 9th. We could have done another 2 weeks on this almost. I don't know that anybody necessarily wanted to, but you could have. But, emotions were high and people were testy.
Yeah.
At one point, Alabama Congressman Mike Rogers had to be restrained as he was going after Matt Gaetz.
So go watch the upper left-hand corner of the screen because the camera starts to follow McCarthy off to the right, but keep watching to the left. Right when I hope it doesn't get cut off. Watch this. See how he's looking at him? He's going.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Oh no.
Boy. Oh boy.
Pulled him back by his face.
Back.
That was good. The still shots of that moment. Look at that. That is good stuff. That is fun. Yeah.
So apparently he was headed for Gaetz because he's pissed.
Yeah, he was saying,
said, "I'm not voting for him no matter what."
That jerk, Mike Rogers, is the guy who on Monday said, "If you don't vote for McCarthy, we're going to take you off of your committee assignments." Well, that just gave more resolve, hardened the resolve of the 20 rebels, right?
Right.
And by the way. Kudos to my daughter who was also watching this Geek Fest Friday night. She texted me. This is how you do it in America. You're in the same house watching the same thing, but you're texting your relative the other side of the house. Mm-hmm. She said, "What's up with Dan Crenshaw's hand?" I was like, what are you talking about? And so I look at it, and there you go. He's got a bloody knuckle. He's hit it. Look at the end of it.
He smashed something because he was so pissed.
So I tweeted at him. I'm like, you mad, bro? I mean, you've been punching walls. What's up? And then I love the guy. What's the account? The memes guy took my picture and dressed it up beautifully, adding the patch there to his hand.
So funny. That's perfect.
That is
a perfect meme. And what a douchebag Dan Crenshaw has turned out to be.
Totally.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it. But
he's insufferable now.
Yeah. But now you become a real pain in the anus. And I can't take it.
Right. By the way, you talked about the drama there. Do we have the picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene holding up her cell phone? Look at that. She's trying to get, I forgot, a guy from Arizona. No, Montana. I forget. She's like, yo, look, zoom in on the phone, can we? It's Donald Trump. See, it says DT on her phone. She's trying to get them, talk to Donald Trump. He's going to explain to you why you should vote for Kevin McCarthy.
He?
It was so fun Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for, is the explanation from Donald Trump. I mean, I think he's explained himself a little too much lately, and I think I understand it now. I get it.
But we got
it.
We got Kevin McCarthy. Aren't you excited?
We got Kevin McCarthy. I'm so excited.
He may have used cash from FTX to defeat conservatives.
But whatever.
But right.
What I am excited by is the fact that the holdouts actually got some decent concessions for holding out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want to be elected Speaker of the House? All right, here's some things you're going to have to do. And they did. This is why we are a republic. This is why 20 people held out and actually got some good reform in the House of Representatives. That's not democracy. Democracy is mob rule. The majority gets what they want, and they just shut down the minority. That's why democracies don't work. That's why they all go down the drain within 200 years. But these guys demanded some change, and they got it in order to elect this guy. Some of the concessions were a minimum 72-hour reading period for all bills presented to Congress. Well, that just makes sense. And they wouldn't do it. I mean, you can't just say, all right, here's a 5,000-page bill. We're voting for it in 10 minutes. Well, no, I don't have any opportunity to read the bill and see what's in it. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, if you don't read a bill, you shouldn't be voting for it. A committee to study potential FBI abuses against the American public. They got that concession. They got a vote on term limits for representatives. So they're going to vote about term limits. And several other conservative policies that Republicans have been fighting for years.
Yeah, like appropriations bills, right?
Yep.
They've got to be specific to what the expenditure is going to be. You can't just have this omnibus garbage. And when you add amendments, they have to be related to the topic of the spending bill. You can't just like say,
those are big.
Yeah, right. Like if you're trying to fund the military and then, here's an amendment that gives money to LGBTQ education in schools, you can't then go to their constituents and say, look, he voted against defense spending. Well, no, it's because it was the school thing was in there.
And that happens all the time.
All the time.
I mean, that literally happens all the time. Almost every bill contains some ridiculous, unrelated expenditure that, people are going to oppose. And usually they just swallow it anyway because of the rest of the bill.
But to your point about they got all these concessions, Matt Gaetz got to the point where he's like, yeah, I'd run out of stuff to ask for. So I really didn't have anything else to do. And seriously, credit where credit is due to Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert, who, by the way, Boebert just by the skin of her teeth won her seat back in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Every vote matters.
Yep.
Well, when they're counted,
for sure.
I mean. And so they made the difference. Those two really stood firm.
And the vote was actually, it turned out to be, because apparently some no-shows, 216 to 212.
Yeah, that was the final total.
Mm-hmm. So 216 for Kevin McCarthy, 212 for Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, the Democrats don't. There's no deviation there. You can't deviate at all.
No.
They're lockstep no matter what. I mean, to their credit and to their condemnation, they're lockstep no matter what. Once McCarthy won, he gave a speech and he told Congress what the number one priority would be. Here's what he had to say. Kevin McCarthy, this
Clip
would be clip 2. Yeah.
IRS.
But when we come back, our very first bill will repeal the funding for 87,000 new IRS.
Yeah! Good.
You see, we believe government should be to help you, not go after you.
Thank you. Nice. Now, they're going to have every Republican on board to make that happen, and hopefully they will. So we'll see. He also discussed investigations that would soon follow.
Now, speaking of committees, we will hold the swamp accountable. From the withdrawal of Afghanistan to the origins of COVID and to the weaponization of the FBI.
Good. All right. I like it.
Let me be very clear.
Please.
We will use the power of the purse and the power of the subpoena to get the job done.
I love that. Look at the Democrats. Idiots.
They had to stick around for Jeffrey.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it. About a year ago, McCarthy sat down with Breitbart News and had some interesting things to say about what he would do if he became House Speaker. Well, now he's become House Speaker, so I guess here's some things we could expect.
Okay.
I voted for it. If Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the private sector, there's no reason why he should be given one to be on Intel or Homeland Security. So he will not be serving there.
Thank you.
So you're going to, if you're the Speaker of the House, you're going to remove him from those committees.
Ilhan Omar should not be serving on foreign affairs.
What about any committees for Ilhan Omar?
You know, this is a new level of what the Democrats have gone. You look at Adam Schiff. He should not be serving on Intel when he has openly, knowingly now used a fake dossier, lied to the American public in the process, and doesn't have any ill will, says he wants to continue to do it. So we're going to reshape. I mean, think about what happened to Afghanistan. Why did Afghanistan collapse so fast? Was the Intel Committee under Adam Schiff focused on impeachment and not on the safety of America? Why are people coming across the border that are on a terrorist watch list? What are they doing about it? And their own members on that committee says it's not happening when it's true. We need to have an Intel Committee that looks at what's happening around the world and keeps America safe. It should do exactly what it was created, overseeing of our agencies and others. And so we're going to hold people to a higher standard in the process if they want to be on the Intel Committee and on the training of what to be a part of that. Take the politics out of it, of what they've been doing. I've looked at and I tried to get a committee on China.
Pelosi walked away from that.
She walked away from it. When it took me 8 months for it to get, and you watch what's happening today. Would we have the supply chain problem? We did a China task force. We didn't stop, and you read through the recommendations. Those are the things we're going to implement. But America would be stronger today had we been able to do that sooner.
Yeah. I hope he has the giblets to get those things done.
Sure do.
Because they make sense and they should happen.
Yeah.
Is he calling Adam Schiff Adam Shift?
Okay, I got hung up on that too, bro.
Do you really not know the guy's name? Because he didn't say it like he was trying to, do something clever.
No.
He said it like that's his name, Adam Shift.
I noticed that too. I was going to let it go.
No, couldn't do it.
Pat can't let anything go.
I can't let that go.
Yeah, I mean, just pay no attention to the fact that Kevin McCarthy and Elise Stefanik, who now control the purse strings in America, appear on the World Economic Forum website.
Oh, jeez.
It's going to be good stuff. It's going to be good stuff, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, it's things like that that caused him to go 15 rounds instead of one.
Boy, he's got some standards now.
I got some tweets here. from Jimmy Dimples. With all the sudden deaths going on, I'm looking around my immediate family as the only unvaxxed one, and I'm worried I'm going to end up the only pallbearer. Wow, hope not.
I bet a lot of people are thinking like that, and I hate it.
Let's see, Jeffy's lawn chair. Used to be a nervous lawn chair, or is this a separate one? I'm not sure, but maybe it's not as nervous as it once was.
Uh-huh.
If there was a possible link of sudden death to Pepto-Bismol, it would be pulled off the shelf already. No kidding. It really would. The CEO would be fired and the company sued out of existence. Yes, no question. You think back to like Fen-Phen, where I don't know how many people got sick from Fen-Phen or died. Not very many.
Not this
I mean,
many,
when you had
sure.
hundreds of millions of people take it, and I think around 50 had problems with it. I mean, how far beyond 50 are we? Yeah. We could probably show you, if we really did some research, we could probably find 50 died suddenly deaths in the last week.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Carl Smith tweets, no one in authority will openly question or investigate the sudden deaths of the young, otherwise healthy people, until they can blame it on the Trump vaccine. Yeah, we gotta play this audio from Tim Robbins, who was on with Russell Brand, both of whom are, or at least were, hardcore lefties. I mean, really liberal. Russell Brand was one of the most obnoxious, irritating liberals you could think of. And he's really had a change of heart on a lot of different issues. Tim Robbins was the guy who was talking about a cold wind. A chill wind is blowing in America. Remember that back in the Gulf War times, or the second Gulf War times?
Like you're not allowed to speak out against the Iraq War or George Bush's America.
Yeah. And, he was originally, of course, totally on board with all things vaccine related. Listen to what he had to say recently to Russell Brand.
I started to wonder more and more about what we were being told and whether it was true or not. And so it took a while for me to speak about it. I was staying in Soho, and I was there one Saturday morning, and I heard a lot of noise outside. And it was a protest, an anti-lockdown protest. And I went out. I had a bicycle, and I went out, and I joined the protest. Not because I was joining the protest, because I was curious about what was going on. And I started talking to people. And I saw the way that they were being described in the press, and it wasn't true. These were not, National Front Nazis. These were liberals and lefties and people that believed in personal freedom. And I began to educate myself, and I began to open my mind to what was going on. It was a very different political environment in the United States, very divisive, very much based on politics. If you were, it changed. At first, if you were a Democrat, when Trump was president, you weren't going to take that vaccine because it was Trump's vaccine. And then that seemed to somehow change. It was kind of Orwellian. It was like we are no longer at war with East Asia. It was
right. And never had been.
We were thinking about it a different way. And if you didn't take the vaccine, you were a Republican. And it wasn't that way here in England. There was a much more tolerant attitude towards the diversity of opinion. And so I was really grateful to have been in this experience so that I could get a different perspective.
I mean, that's incredible to me. That's Tim Robbins, the guy who is, or was at least, married to Susan Sarandon. One of the big Hollywood elites who are just so incredibly far left.
Yeah, even she, I think, has come around. Remember she posted all the video of the homeless camps in L.A.?
Yeah.
She posted without comment.
Right.
But I think she was saying, take a
look
at
what's
this.
happened to our city.
And, that entire interview, though, with Tim Robbins on with Russell Brand is
worth
so
seeing.
good. Yeah, and he even talks about how, look, I drove across the country and I saw places in the middle of the country that weren't following these guidelines, social distance, mask everywhere you go, and things were fine. They were living their lives. I mean, he got outside of his bubble
and he actually
experienced
had an open mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Which blew me away. I mean, that blows me away. Yeah. Here's a guy who took in his surroundings and figured out what he was being told wasn't true.
Yeah.
Who takes the time to do that on the left? Nobody.
And if you get a chance, on January 1st, 2022, he tweeted out a 9-part thread on Twitter. His account is Tim Robbins, the number 1, so Tim Robbins 1. And he has a pin to the top. It's just a 9-part thread, and it just talks about, hey, we can't be at each other's throats because we disagree on how we want to take care of our own bodies.
Right.
We've got to respect people's autonomy and their personal choices, and if they want to take the vax or not. I mean, it is so eloquent. I just loved every word of it. If you get a chance to read, it's pinned to the top of his Twitter profile.
And Brand asked him, Russell Brand asked him an interesting question.
Nobody here is saying that the vaccines don't have a positive impact or that we oughtn't do everything in our power to protect human life. It's simply that if you have authoritarianism where conversation is shut down, you are losing one of the great treasures, perhaps the primary treasure, of democracy. Do you feel, Tim, that the pandemic revealed something about the nature of establishment power, the aesthetics of establishment power, and perhaps the way that liberalism itself is changing?
Well, I think it started to reveal itself when we became aware of the idea that the vaccinated could spread it and catch it like the unvaccinated. So
right. You noticed that?
To continue the policy of lockdowns or mandates after that didn't seem to be following the science. It seemed to be following a political agenda. And so that's where I really started to have problems with it. There were a few instances that were really disturbing to me. One was when I believe it was the CDC or the FDA changed the definition of a vaccine on their website.
Yeah.
Another was that when they denied that natural immunity was something. So there was an awful lot of people that got COVID early on. I believe I did in February of 2020. I was in Seattle on tour with a play with the Actors Gang, and I got very sick. And in the past, natural immunity is one of the building blocks to moving forward. Some people get vaccinated, some people have natural immunity, and eventually we have, what do they call that? Herd immunity. So the fact that there were these change of definitions was something that my alarm bells went off.
Really good. Really fascinating. How about that? A liberal with an open mind. A liberal who's willing to consider another possibility. Somebody who's willing to go against what a Democrat leadership group is telling him and maybe step outside that box a little bit and look around himself and decide for himself if what they're telling him is true, and he realized it's not. So now he's doing something about it, and he's going around talking, and this is not easy. You're going to be shut down in Hollywood. They're not going to appreciate what he's doing right now. You're probably endangering your career, your livelihood. And maybe he's made enough money to where he doesn't care. But still, for him to do this is really courageous.
We just ask for people to be intellectually honest, and he is.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. It's really great. Let me tell you about Keeps. If the first thing you notice when you look at a photo of yourself or you look in the mirror every morning is your receding hairline or a bald spot of some sort, Keeps can help you change that. They'll take that that self-consciousness that you're feeling and turn it around. Make it self-confidence. Hair loss is really tough. I mean, you see it all the time. People bug you about it, joke about it. If you've had enough of that, go to keeps.com/Pat. You'll get 50% off your first order. And they will customize a program to fit your needs and your budget. They're really great about that. They worked with Keith very closely on some of the things he wanted and didn't want.
I would like to point out that they had no idea who I was. I called as a customer.
That's great.
No idea that I was on this show, part of the show. And they absolutely tailor-make because there was some of the product that I didn't want. Mm-hmm. And so they took it out, and I didn't pay as much because I was just like, I don't need that one. They are so good and work with you.
I respect that a lot. Mm-hmm. And you can message your Keeps doctor anytime you have questions, 24/7. If your hair is wearing thin and so are the balding jokes, then join the thousands of guys like Keith who've saved their hair through Keeps. Visit Keeps.com/Pat. Get 50% off your first order. KEEPS.com/Pat. Keeps.com/Pat.
Pat Gray is unleashed.
We got the open-minded and then the not-so-much. While we've had Damar Hamlin, who collapsed on the field of play last week, exactly a week ago today.
Yeah, people are asking questions,
People just asking, hey, what happened there? 24-year-old guy in really excellent physical condition, no other underlying problems that we know of. So what was going on there? You can't ask that. Major Garrett sat down with Anthony Fauci and asked if the COVID vaccine should even be considered as the cause of his cardiac arrest.
Okay, that's be good.
Dr. Fauci, I don't know if you saw it, but on Monday Night Football this week, Damar Hamlin, a player for the Buffalo Bills, collapsed on the field. You're not an NFL expert, and you're not an expert on any cardiovascular issues the player might have had. But what I want to ask you about, Dr. Fauci, is, as I want to do in moments like that, I kept an eye on Twitter. And I can't tell you exactly how many minutes transpired, but it was less than 20 before people on Twitter began to say, well, clearly the vaccine caused his seizure. Right. And that had a multiplier effect on Twitter, as these things tend to do. What's your reaction to that?
What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is one of concern about...
Isn't it horror? Borderline? More than concern?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Stop coloring the news. Let him answer.
Pause it for a second. That just shows he didn't want this is just a setup.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For Anthony Fauci to say absolutely not, there's no reason to consider.
They're on the same page.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But you don't ask a question and go, was it horror? Is that your answer? Because that was my response. I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Ridiculous. All right, let's see the rest.
When you have a platform like social media that exponentially spreads in its best form, proper and important and value-added information can spread, which is good.
Yes.
The thing as a public health person and as a physician and a scientist, and my identity as a physician is the thing that gets pained the most by that. Because what that means, Major, is that yet again another conspiracy theory, complete nonsense, is going to have some people make a decision for themselves and their family not to get vaccinated.
Okay,
which
I can't
may
take
cost
it
them
anymore.
their lives.
I can't take it. Oh my gosh.
You're at fault if people don't get the vax and then get sick.
Oh man.
Right.
Are there any serious side effects from the COVID vaccine, Dr. Fauci? Are there any side effects at all? And here he is with that.
And in some of these instances, as you well know, Dr. Fauci, there is some shred of evidence myocarditis was related to vaccines.
But
it
you
is
just
a
said no.
heart
it's ridiculous.
issue. I'm not a doctor. You are. That's a shred of evidence.
A very small shred, right. But,
and explain how then this can get conflated.
Of course.
Unreal.
In a very, very rare case,
very rare,
some of the mRNA vaccines can cause a self-limiting, almost invariably benign inflammatory response in the heart,
What?
which generally resolves in a very short period of time.
Pause it.
It is
I mean, we
very-
have that is
You
talk about nonsense.
Right.
That's absolute nonsense. Those who have myocarditis from the vaccine, let's ask them how is it almost benign? Did you almost enjoy it? It was almost a good thing, right?
Well, I mean, that you could take that angle, or you could say, whoa, to even suggest that would get you kicked off Twitter a year ago. What are you talking about, Dr. Fauci?
Yeah,
Which,
I know.
by the way...
Well, because they have to admit to myocarditis now.
Right.
They have to.
Right. Oh, yeah. And they have on the FDA website.
And soon they'll have to admit to other problems as well.
But there was documents with the Twitter FBI files about how your government was going to Twitter and saying, hey, we can't be letting Tommy Lahren talk about how she doesn't want to get the vaccine. In other words, we can't even have people express their own opinions about what they're going to do for their own bodies.
Right.
And so that's what they're talking about, this disinformation. We can't have people out there poo-pooing the vaccine because that could cause somebody to not get it. And oh, my gosh.
So, see if we can handle the rest of this.
I don't know that we can.
We say, hold on, we save taxpayers.
Wait, what are we doing here? What are we doing? That's a different clip. All right.
No, okay.
Did we get to the end of clip 14? I don't think so. I don't think so. Clip 14? Clip 14.
When we were playing.
That's a shred
Right.
of
Just
evidence.
A very small shred, right.
Right.
But,
And explain how then this can get
of
confused.
course, in a very, very rare case,
Very, very
some
rare.
of the mRNA vaccines can cause a self-limiting, almost invariably
benign.
inflammatory response
Almost
in the heart,
fun.
which generally resolves.
It's almost
in a very
an
short
enjoyable
period of time.
sensation.
It is very, very rare. When you compare that with the negative effects on the heart by myocarditis or pericarditis, which is inflammation of either the heart muscle or the covering of the heart, and heart failure and heart medical problems, overwhelmingly COVID itself
oh my gosh.
causes that in a dramatically higher rate
How do you suck?
than the relatively benign mild myocarditis that you might have
Okay, I got it.
with a vaccine.
The relatively mild, very, very rare, almost enjoyable myocarditis that comes from the vaccine.
Almost
You're going to
enjoyable?
enjoy this. Yeah,
Wow.
you're going to have a good time with
weird.
it. You're going to say, give me another dose of that vaccine over there. All right?
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Start things out this hour. DMXDM tweets, if Mike Rogers and Dan Crenshaw were as protective of our money and liberty as they are of Kevin McCarthy, maybe we wouldn't dislike them so much. Yeah, good point. Bad Engineer tweets, I thought Fauci was going away. I know. He's still getting the interviews and the attention. Jeffy's third Iris tweets, so when did Dr. Fauci demote himself from the science to a mere scientist? Right, yeah, I noticed that too.
Oh.
Mistress JoJo tweets, is McCarthy going to form a committee to investigate Fast Eddie Fauci? I hope so.
Well, they're going to investigate the origins of COVID. I bet his name comes up a lot during that.
It has to, right? It just has to. And you got the gain of function thing that still needs to be dealt with. Why are we even doing that in the first place?
Yeah.
We're getting some
See noise in the other room there.
noise in the other room. If we could, there is a broadcast going on. Here, boys. Thank you.
Okay, all right, we got it. We got
All
it.
right.
Okay, cool.
We've got a situation now where we can't close our studio door.
Yeah.
It's broken somehow. The track it's on is messed up.
It prompted you to take action.
So, yeah.
Matters into your own hands.
And then somebody apparently didn't read the sign on the way in. But yeah, you got to be quiet when you enter the area.
Yeah, there's a sign. I mean, like, there's literally a sign out there now, which reminds me, speaking of signs, I've got to put up our, got right here.
Our
2023
our well
health safety seal. Okay?
We haven't talked about the well health safety seal for a while, but we've got the 2023 version now.
We got the 2023 version.
Good.
And in fact, we talked about from the early days of this thing how it's such a racket. Look at this. If you can buy these, You get a package of 4 of these for $10.
What?
I mean, it's such a scam.
So there's no test you have to pass?
Oh my gosh, that's right. You had to
conditions?
But they're still going to find a way to make money off of it.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
That's
so if you
amazing.
actually see these in public, not only is it a farce.
There's nothing special about it.
It's now just you buy a...
That's great.
Pathetic.
Oh, man.
So that basically means, if you don't recall, a couple years ago, something I think that was tied to the World Economic Forum was like, hey, will you give us some money and we'll send you a seal, and it means that you social distance and clean stuff in your place of business. What a scam.
So we can
we'll
put that
replace
up.
the 2022 one. I'll take care of that. Yeah.
Put it up right by our please be quiet when entering the area sign.
You got it.
Door is broken situation. Good. The U.S. government has quietly issued an extension to the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for foreign travelers. That's so important right now. The Transportation Security the TSA, issued the extension of vaccine mandates that will last at least until April 10th of this year. Jeez, they
What
just
is the
keep this thing going.
justification for that?
I don't know. Maybe the situation in China. I don't know.
Xenophobia much, huh?
Wow, that's a good point.
It's just I don't know. Whatever. Don't seal the border.
Mm-hmm.
Don't seal the border. but we'll test you if you're flying in legitimately.
Right. By the way, if you missed it and missed the first hour, you should go back and listen, for one thing. But also, we do have a Speaker of the House now on the 15th round of voting for Speaker of the House. Kevin McCarthy finally did win the majority. There was a few members missing, so it was 216 to 212, because normally you got to get to 218. But there were some that were not present.
And they voted president, Now, there was, though, Hakeem Jeffries, who came close to securing the speakership, the Democrat leader of the House now. He gave a speech Friday night as well.
Oh, I bet that's fun.
Do you want to see what you're missing out on? You could have had this guy as speaker.
All right.
House Democrats
will
always put American values over autocracy.
Oh, get out of here.
Benevolence over bigotry. The Constitution over the cult.
Are you
Democracy
kidding me?
over demagogues. Economic opportunity over extremism. Freedom over fascism.
Bull crap.
Governing over gaslighting.
It's the
Hopefulness
opposite of
over
everything
hatred.
he says.
Inclusion over isolation.
Sure.
Justice over judicial
I
overreach.
can't
Knowledge
take it. Stop.
over kangaroo court.
Stop. I
Liberty
can't.
over limit.
Liberty. Democrats love liberty now. No?
The Constitution. The only time they even mention it or even know of its existence is when they're trying to make, I don't know, some stupid point for themselves. They only care about it when it suits them.
Okay.
And it rarely does, because they're so anti-Constitution, anti-liberty, anti-inclusion. Wow. That's agonizing.
Almost speaker.
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, he's 4 votes away. Thank goodness that Republicans took back the House, because otherwise, well, you wouldn't have him babbling. You'd probably have Pelosi still. After a lot of pressure, Joe Biden finally went to the border. He got a really sanitized view of El Paso. He didn't go downtown and see where, the 84,000 migrants were dumped in less than 4 months.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. That's
Look at that.
USA right there.
That's El Paso, Texas.
Yep.
My God.
Looks like that in the alleyways as well. They're all crowded around like this one church.
Now, you would think you might, as president, go down and take a look at this and
no.
So you can understand firsthand and say, yeah, I saw it firsthand. It's really out of control.
No, his route avoided that area.
Wow.
Yeah.
He did. I guess he did go to the border, though, right?
Yeah.
He was walking near the wall.
He walked near the wall.
So he's all set now. He's all set. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine.
So he'll solve it. Yeah. And all that stuff you see there, that's Trump's fault, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. He inherited the situation, I believe, is what we're being told.
You got to play this KJP clip.
The president inherited a mess
He
because
inherited
of what
a
the
mess.
last administration did. We
What
inherited a mess.
Okay, so Nikki,
I just can't.
Nikki Haley, who was a part of the Trump administration, saw that clip and then tweeted out, "Here's the border crossing mess Biden inherited. In 2020, 458,000 illegals. In 2022, 2.378 million illegals." So 458,000, 2.378 million.
And I won't even make the case that it wasn't a mess when Biden took over. But Trump was trying to do something about it. He was trying to build a wall. He was trying to cut down incentives for them to cross the border illegally. He was trying to fix it. But it didn't start with Trump. You go back to Obama. You go back to Bush. You go back to Clinton and on, back to the late 50s with Eisenhower to the beginning of this. Yes, every president since about 58 has inherited a problem. But this president made it 5 times as bad. At least 5 times as bad. So don't give me that he inherited a terrible problem. They've all inherited the problem. It's just who's going to do something about it.
Yeah, and Democrat office holders, whether presently or recently left their post, Democrats along the border in these communities are saying, Joe Biden, what is up?
Yeah.
Fix this. It's
bad.
give a crap about the border down here because our communities are being overrun. Whatever.
Right. Frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
But Greg Abbott, he's out there trying to push back on this. So this weekend he was everywhere.
And here he is talking about it.
We've had about as many people cross the border illegally in the past year alone as we have residents of Houston, Texas. This is outrageous that Joe Biden is not doing more. They're not fooling anybody. And there's a reason why he's trying to step up now. And that's because most of Americans disagree with Joe Biden's open border policies, and they lay the fault directly at Joe Biden's feet.
Thank you.
What did he say? He said Houston, the population of Houston.
Yeah, Houston proper.
In the last year.
Just the city of Houston limits, there's about 2.2 million.
Yeah, in the last year.
Is that what it is?
The 4th largest city in America.
Right.
Crossed illegally in the last year alone.
It's interesting when you put it in those terms.
Right?
Houston's a pretty dang big city.
Yeah, and the Biden administration didn't tell the governor's office that they were coming to El Paso until I think it was the day before, so Saturday. They're like, oh, yeah, if you want to, I guess if you want to greet him on the tarmac, here's when he'll be here tomorrow. And so Abbott got out there and handed him a letter. There's some interesting stuff in there. I think it's very well written. He shared it with the rest of us, the contents therein.
He wrote, "Dear President Biden." I use "dear" fairly loosely.
Yeah, he put honorable on there.
Did he? Oh, yeah, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr.
Look how nice he's being.
President of the United States. Dear President Biden, your visit to our southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texas property owners whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies. Even the city you visit has been sanitized of the migrant camps, which had overrun downtown El Paso because your administration wants to shield you from the chaos that Texans experience on a daily basis. This chaos is the direct result of your failure to enforce the immigration laws that Congress enacted. What do you want to bet? He just threw this directly in the garbage. Probably didn't even read it.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Went directly into the garbage. Under President Trump, the federal government achieved historically low levels of illegal immigration. Under your watch, by contrast, America is suffering the worst illegal immigration in the history of our country. Your open border policies have emboldened the cartels, who grow wealthy by trafficking deadly fentanyl and even human beings. Texans are paying an especially high price for your failure, sometimes with their very lives, as local leaders from your own party will tell you if given the chance. Mm-hmm. All of this is happening because you have violated your constitutional obligation to defend the United States against invasion through the faithful execution of federal laws. Halfway through your presidency, though, I can finally welcome you to the border when you finish the photo op in a carefully stage-managed version of El Paso. You have a job to do. And then he describes some of the things he must do.
I love it.
That's great. Yeah. Good stuff. I like Governor Abbott. I think he's done a good job mostly. There were some missteps along the way, but I think all in all, he's been a pretty good governor. And that's nice that he took the bold action to present him with that letter.
Well, but the Biden administration is being very receptive to him, correct? And they're like, "Hey, cool, thanks for your help here, Governor Abbott." Right?
Yeah, super
Okay.
receptive. Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas doesn't like Abbott and what Abbott and Texas are doing. Here's what Alejandro had to say.
Well, Governor Abbott is not collaborating with the federal government on an issue that requires collaboration. We cannot have the rights and the needs of individuals who are seeking humanitarian relief in the United States be exploited for political purposes. We cannot have unilateral governor action that is not coordinated with the federal government to address an issue that is of national importance.
Somebody got to do something, bro.
Yeah.
It's just pathetic.
It is. It's agonizing. 888-727-BECK.
You're listening to Pat.
933.93. Also, Pat Unleashed on Twitter, where Bad Engineer tweets, did a Democrat who voted for impeachment really say they were against kangaroo courts?
Hakeem Jeffries.
Mistress JoJo tweets, I had to physically leave the room in upchuck after listening to Hakeem Jeffries. The blatant lies and hypocrisy coming out of his mouth, really nauseating. Benign heart inflammation. Jeffries wants to be Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. Eric White, KJP. The numbers don't lie, but you do. Conservatarians, we need to shut down all immigration for the next 40 years, regain control over K-12 curriculum, and allow for better assimilation and education. From Holy Smokes 1776, the fact that the United States of America cannot secure a freaking southern border just shows how incompetent this absolutely bloated government is. Dan the Man, inherited? I wonder what the Google Street View of that same street in El Paso looked like in 21 or even a year ago.
Right. Well, that's a good question.
That would be great to see. For a nice comparison, from DG, the border. The border is secure.
The border.
Border from Alejandro Mayorkas. The border is secure.
So wait a minute. If it is secure, or it was secure under the Biden administration, as they claimed for nearly 2 years, and now they acknowledge there's a problem that he has to go down there and see for himself. Are they acknowledging that it was under control and now it's not? I wonder what changed.
That is interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. January 6th committee accidentally released Social Security numbers of Trump officials and allies.
Wow.
Oopsie daisies.
This is not America, man.
Now, how did that happen to just Trump and his allies? Trump officials? And not, let's say, Biden administration officials? Or anybody else? Did it happen to a single Democrat? When the House January 6th committee released hundreds of documents from its investigation online at the end of the year, it inadvertently made public nearly 2,000 Social Security numbers belonging to high-profile individuals who visited the White House in December 2020. Isn't that interesting? Oops. The Washington Post reported Friday that the leaked Social Security information was included in a spreadsheet buried within the massive cache of records from the committee's work. Social Security numbers belonging to at least 3 members of Trump's cabinet, a few Republican governors, and several Trump associates were reportedly compromised.
Yeah, Kristi Noem's entire family, like her husband, her daughters that visited the White House. Yep. Yeah, their Social Security numbers are now in public realm. Awesome. Good job, January 6th committee. Woo! You guys just did great.
Great work. Yep. While many Social Security numbers in the logs were redacted, the Post reported that around 1,900 of them were not.
Mm-hmm.
The Government Publishing Office, the GPO, which was responsible for publishing the file, does not appear to have notified any of the individuals whose private information was released.
So we're either dealing with an evil government or
unbelievably incompetent
government, maybe a little bit of both. It's just hard to know at what particular time the government is doing what, being evil or being incompetent.
You mentioned Noem's family, also Greg Abbott, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, former Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, and former Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson.
Just an accident.
Yeah, whoopsies. Sorry. Yeah, no.
What's the big deal?
That's not a problem, is it?
Do you use your Social Security number for anything? Probably not.
Does that hurt you in any way if somebody has that information? I'm sure not.
Get over it already.
Yeah, come on. I mean, how picky are you? Do you expect them to keep your information private? That's so silly. Last week, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg defended his use of private planes instead of commercial flights. Did he now? Here's what Buttigieg had to say about using private jets, which is...
We save taxpayers $2,000
saving money
by using the FAA
so
jet instead of buying all those airlines.
To Nevada, Florida, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Ohio, New Hampshire, using a private flight to travel to Montreal.
Not a private flight, a government aircraft.
Well, understood, but the taxpayers are still paying for it.
Right, and the taxpayers are usually saving money when we do that.
You know,
what?
That is one of the controversies that led to other secretaries leaving. For example, Secretary Price of HHS sat at this very desk and defended government trips. And
did Secretary Price save taxpayers money by doing it? I don't think he did.
He originally said he did. You also brought your husband, Chasten, on a military aircraft to attend a sporting event in Netherlands. Was that
That's what it's been to put on.
No. But was that reimbursed? Because that was one of the controversies with Price.
Of course not.
Wait, what?
Did he just say, of course
not? Did that clip end right there? Oh, I got to know what happened.
Of course not.
Of course. Did he mishear what Brett said?
He didn't reimburse the government for that?
Hold on. That he had to have followed
Was that reimbursed? Because that was one of the controversies with Price.
Of course not.
Hold on. That can't be how that conversation ended on that topic.
And aside from the savings that he's bragging about for the American people because he took private jets, come on. That's incredible. There's no way you saved money on that for the taxpayer. But let's say you did.
Oh, no, that was it, because the diplomatic protocol on a presidential delegation, he said, has long been that the principal is accompanied by their spouse. So, of course not. I'm not going to reimburse that. That's all part of the deal, taking him to a sporting event in Europe.
That was not official U.S. government business?
I guess. I don't know.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I think something else was going on there besides the sporting event, which, it's got to be soccer. If it's in Europe.
Well, of course.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't see the headline. I didn't see what sporting event it was.
And what sporting event are we sending U.S. officials to in Europe? What kind of sporting event do we officially go to?
Yeah, and where's the love for the environment? I mean, that's
what I was going to bring up, is the climate change aspect of this.
Sporting event in Netherlands.
It's certainly not better for the environment that you're continually harping on, that we're on the brink of catastrophe, and we've only got 9 years left as a civilization because we've destroyed this planet so badly. But your private jet is helping that?
Well, they went to the Invictus Games, apparently.
And that's official business for the U.S. government? What are the Invictus Games? What is that?
I've heard that. I can't think of
And why would the Transportation Secretary go to the Invictus Games?
Yeah, so I'm being told like Prince Harry does that. Is that kind of like the X Games or something? Basically? Yeah. Military games or something. Okay, there you go.
Really important for the transportation secretary and his husband to be there. I'm sure. I'm sure that's really, really important.
Good stuff, right?
Yeah, great stuff. That's really good. Also, Volodymyr Zelensky Saturday congratulated newly elected Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, and then...
Oh, no, don't tell us the tweet. I know the tweet.
Begged for more foreign aid from the United States.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations to GOP leader on his election as the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. U.S. support in all fields has been vital for Ukraine's success on the battlefield. We're counting on your continued support and further U.S. assistance to bring our common victory closer.
Yeah, I did see that tweet, to which I responded to Zelensky, aren't you a little too old to be a prostitute? But here he is. But, I mean, literally, like, minutes after he becomes Speaker of the House, he had that tweet ready to go. Need more money. Bro.
They've already secured, of course, over $100 billion. And now they want more. And they want more. I mean, it doesn't matter how much we get them, how much we send them. They still want more.
Yep.
It's never enough. Welcome. This is good news. Ohio's Oberlin College just paid a $36 million judgment to a defamed bakery. A local bakery that I guess they were deemed to have defamed the bakery.
Yeah.
After a 2016 incident with the business.
We've talked about this, where somebody was stealing some wine or something. They chased him down, and this was that bakery had a lucrative deal with the college to supply food, but yet the college was totally fine with them being by students going after them, accusing them of racism for basically just trying to stop a crime that was happening to their business.
Unbelievable.
So they went to court and ended up getting, what, $36 million?
$36 million for that.
I think they'll be fine now.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd close up my bakery and say, it was a fun time.
I'm glad when these faux charges of racism are held accountable on some things. So that's good to see that the bakery, because that affected. They were talking about the health of their parents. I think it caused them like early. I'm not sure. I just remember that I don't want to say early deaths, but it seemed to remember something where it just devastated the family. And you can imagine going through this, being falsely accused of something that heinous. I don't know if you saw Scientific American said that Damar Hamlin's collapse highlights the violence black men experience in football. The, quote, terrifyingly ordinary nature of football's violence disproportionately affects black men.
I wonder why that would be.
Let's see. That's a head
because
scratcher.
there's disproportionately a huge number of blacks in the NFL as compared to any other race?
Tony Dungy responded as he's like,
stupid is that?
This is so dumb.
Do you know that 75% of the injuries in the NFL happen to black players?
Wow.
Is that because 75% of the NFL are black players?
What I would say is that these kind of injuries really disproportionately affect athletes, too.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point too. Keith, thank you for making it.
Yeah,
this reminds me, this Oberlin College thing, $36 million payout. Because here's what happened: the bakery, the co-owner's son, Alan Gibson, chased and tackled a black male Oberlin College student suspected of stealing a bottle of wine. Okay, so then that was a racist move. And that won the bakery $36 million. Well, now we got another of these racist claims, and I don't know if this is legit or not. My guess is it isn't. But the home of an Allen High School football star was recently vandalized with a racial slur.
Oh, no.
The school district says, now Allen is a suburb of Dallas. It's in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This super successful high school. They've won quite a few state championships. The school district says junior quarterback Mike Hawkins Jr. and his younger brother are no longer enrolled in Allen ISD, and that's because somebody spray painted, the N-word on their garage door. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, since Allen, this is not like the first quarterback who's ever been black to play at Allen. I give you Kyler Murray, who played for Allen High School and is now in the NFL.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Seems like he's a black quarterback. I don't believe he had problems like this. Why would this all of a sudden raise its ugly head now? And they've got plenty of black players in Allen. Why would you single out this family? It's just bizarre to me. Dave Campbell's Texas Football lists the junior as a 4-star recruit, ranking him 3rd in his position nationwide. Wow. Scholarship offers from Alabama, Oklahoma, TCU, Arkansas, Michigan, and others. It doesn't, and if the guy is helping them win, it's just crazy. It doesn't seem reasonable to me.
You think there's going to be a follow-up at some point?
I hope. Hope there's a follow-up. Either they catch the person who really did it, or we find out it's another hoax.
Wait, another? You mean there's been hoaxes like this in the past?
There's been many. Almost all of these have been hoaxes. In fact, all of them I know of have been. But is this? I don't know. The family moved. They moved out of the district. And I don't know. Maybe they were planning to move anyway, and then I don't know. Who knows what happened? But I'm skeptical because we've seen so much of it. They said they were actually nervous to go outside. Really? In Allen? Come on. Really weird. And again, Kyler Murray. I don't remember that happening there.
I hope this is a hoax, quite honestly.
I do too. Because that would be really shameful if it isn't. Really despicable. Last week, the hideous Stephen Colbert told a real funny joke about Ronald Reagan. Isn't this wonderful? It's just, good, clean fun. Here's the little skit he did on Ronald Reagan.
Not just Republicans out there. Independent, nonpartisan journalists like the folks at Fox News are also very, very upset.
Just to see them vote and do the same thing over and over again, and then make speeches to endorse Kevin McCarthy and have him not get I just thought it was the craziest scenario.
It's making the Republicans look ridiculous.
Tonight we asked the question. Oh, well, how about this question? What would Ronald Reagan say?
I don't know, Sean. Something like, where am I? Everything was so dark for so long, and then there were these demons dancing around me chanting, you should have addressed the AIDS crisis when you had the chance.
What the hell?
And then I woke up.
My gosh.
Mommy!
What a freaking idiot.
I mean,
are you kidding me? Pause it for a second. And again, you're alleging that Ronald Reagan had some sort of dementia while he was in office? Are you kidding me?
No, I think that
Are you kidding me?
They're alleging he's so bad. He waited until 1987. That's what they say. Liberals love to claim 1987 was the first time he ever uttered the word AIDS. So I've seen that claim and stuff. And
I've seen it too.
Yeah,
and it's a lie.
It's
totally
a lie.
Basic freaking lie.
September 1984. He talked about how much money the federal government was giving to
increased it every year.
Yeah, spent nearly $6 billion on AIDS with the signature of Ronald Reagan behind it. But whatever, you guys make your own narratives. I mean, that is
unreal.
Late night TV. My
really bad.
Gosh, it couldn't get any worse.
I don't know if it's worse, but Jimmy Fallon was really funny too the other night.
Oh gosh,
when he was singing about COVID variants.
I don't think you'll make it to this 1 minute long song about
right?
COVID. Yeah,
and here it is.
There was Alpha, then Delta, then Omicron next. But this latest variant might be the best. It's XBB.1.5. Another brand of COVID-19 has arrived. It's a new strain,
wow.
But it isn't the same. Sounds more like Elon Musk's name. It's XBB.1.5.
embarrassing.
Who sings red, red wine? Put on your mask when you're inside a facility. It could be a robot from a Star Wars trilogy. It's XBB.1.5. OMG or MP3 or TCBY or an iChart made by a really high guy. Sounds like the password of your parents' Wi-Fi. It's XBB.
This is supposed to be like B-52 style.
I think so. I don't know. I just know
whatever it is.
Really
Jeez,
embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
From the same group of people who told us for 2 years to take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Now they're up there singing these horrible songs about it.
Interesting.
It's
interesting.
I'm telling you, late night TV. I mean, you know what it is? Late night TV is doing for adults what's happened with kids in Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, that used to be such a staple.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what you looked forward to. You'd wake up Saturday morning, you knew what time your shows came on, what channels. And now that's what's happened. And that's not a thing. And late night TV is not going to be a thing soon enough if this stuff keeps happening.
That's already not been a thing for me for quite some time.
No, I'm there with you. I got it. I'm just like, it's not even going to be a thing.
I know.
They spent so many millions of dollars for this. Jokes about a president in hell that you just disagree with and singing songs that are just...
And you lie about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Completely lie about it.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want the Reagan thing? Yeah. If you want to talk about who's responsible for deaths in the 80s with AIDS,
let's go to Anthony
look at
Fauci.
Anthony Fauci and some of the experiments he did. Why don't you look into that? Oh, my gosh. These people suck.
Wow. I mean, Stephen Colbert is just reprehensible.
That's the word.
And Jimmy Fallon is just stupid.
That was embarrassing.
That's just embarrassing. That's just sad.
So sad.
Man. Oof. Over our Christmas break, AOC made a video where she blasted religion that wanted pro-life laws in society because, of course, it's, I guess, wrong and evil to want
don't
babies to
support
be born.
babies living, dude.
Can't
you
do
know
that.
that's a hot button issue. Supporting babies living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People who say, "Oh, but you're harming a life. I believe this is life." Well, some religions don't.
Who?
So how about that?
How about that?
Our Jewish brothers and sisters, they are able to have an abortion according to their faith. You know, there are so many faiths that do not have the same definition of life.
You named one. Who else?
Fundamentalist Christians. Uh-huh. And so what about their rights? What about their right to exercise
She's
their
drinking.
faith?
She's got to be drinking, right?
It's ridiculous. And it is theocratic.
Ooh, big
it's
word.
authoritarian. It is wrong.
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Don't try to protect children. That's wrong. They're the ones who talk about being, the protectors of children all the time. And yet, they continue to seek the death of them before they're even born. They want fewer children to be born to this planet. Wow. Abhorrent. Evil. It really is evil. Apparently, the Vatican and the Catholic Church, are they on the side of AOC? Because just before Christmas, a pro-life priest was removed from the priesthood by the Vatican.
That's shocking.
Now, he says he doesn't know. Apparently, they didn't give him any reason.
Right.
So he's assuming it's his outspokenness about
being pro-life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a priest of all people supporting life.
I mean, that's crazy if that's true.
A pro-life priest. What do they think of next? Oh my God. It's shocking.
It's Frank Pavone, or maybe Pavoni, who leads the advocacy organization Priests for Life and was once a religious advisor to former President Donald Trump, was dismissed from the clergy. And no possibility of appeal.
Wow.
According to the letter he got. The letter included a statement about the removal and said that it was approved by the dicastery for the clergy, which is a Vatican office.
Wow. So this went all the way to the Vatican, and they were like, yep, sign off on this. We can't be having priests supporting babies living in the Catholic Church.
That's just bizarre.
Yeah.
This action was taken after Father Pavoni was found guilty in canonical proceedings of blasphemous communications on social media and of persistent disobedience of the lawful instructions of his diocesan bishop. That's what? Do we have any other evidence of something that might have been blasphemous on his social media?
I haven't seen anything.
That's crazy. If you're calling pro-life stance and you're calling out and you're calling that blasphemous, or calling out politicians who are pro-abortion, that's blasphemous? That's really strange.
What a world, huh?
It can't be that, right? It can't be.
Yeah, I'm looking right here to see if there's
that is something else.
Something else here.
The letter did not specify these communications or disobedience, or name the diocesan bishop.
Isn't that weird? You'd think you would say, hey, on March 10th, you said this online.
Yeah, when you're taking a pretty extraordinary step, it seems like, of removing a guy from the clergy. Wow. He said, I've been persecuted in the church for decades. Decades. This is nothing new for me. They just don't like the work I'm doing for these babies. That's hard to believe, since, I don't know, the doctrine of the church is to be pro-life.
Yeah, I'm just looking here.
Wow.
I guess at some point he wore a biker jacket, a leather biker jacket. And let's see here. He later appeared in a social media video wearing a black leather biker jacket over his priestly collar against a faux backdrop of St. Peter's Basilica, vowing that the anti-abortion war would continue and denouncing the cancel culture of the church that he said has persecuted him for decades. No, so he was
seems
specifically
a little colorful,
going after the church there. And
that's what pissed him off. Wow.
So they might want to change their charges a little bit from blasphemous to just against the church. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just looking here. I'm not in this article. At least what I'm seeing doesn't seem
blasphemous.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless wearing a leather jacket is blasphemy. I'm not familiar with that particular issue.
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of motorcycle he was on too.
It's probably true. Yeah. Was it a Harley?
Right. It would be okay.
Don't know.
Yeah.
All right. The fat phobia chick.
Oh, you want her?
We've had on the show prep for days now, and I don't remember what her problem is.
So she is saying, and it's a couple minutes long. I don't know if you're going to get through it.
Oh, you're fat phobic, right? If you even want to lose weight.
Right.
You're fat. Okay.
Check this chick out. She's awesome.
We'll learn something here.
Okay.
Generally speaking, there's three kind of big buckets of reasons why someone might engage in intentional weight loss.
Okay.
First is desirability. Second, health. Third, stigma. But at the end of the day, all of those are rooted in fat phobia in different ways.
Busted.
I'll explain.
Okay, she's going to explain
First,
it.
Desirability. That is kind of the most obvious when it comes to fat phobia. We currently live in a society that uplifts thinness, able-bodiedness, whiteness, cisness, and heterosexuality as the things that are most desirable. And so if you are wanting to lose weight in order to become more desirable, you are upholding a fat phobic beauty standard, as well as white supremacy and all that jazz.
Wait, what was that?
Pause it
White
for a
supremacy.
second. As well as, what does losing weight have to do with white supremacy?
And you left off all that jazz.
And all that jazz. Yeah.
She kind of just sweeps that aside. I want to know what all that jazz is, too. What are you talking about?
And explain the white supremacy aspect of losing weight. That's interesting.
That is so weird.
Wow.
These
All right.
people try so hard.
Oh, my gosh. And there's more.
As well as, white supremacy and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So next is health.
Health.
What we know is that weight is not a good indicator of someone's health, and also your health is not an indicator of your worth.
Show us your research
health
on
and
that.
body-related goals for yourself that are not about fat phobia and not about weight loss. So let me give you an example.
Okay, here we go. Examples.
You might decide that you have a goal of hiking a particular mountain in your area. Now, you would be engaging in different types of movement in order to achieve that goal. You may or may not lose weight in doing that. And in fact, there's lots of fat mountaineers and hikers. Third bucket reason is that you might be facing extreme fat phobia and anti-fat bias in your own life, and you have personally mentally hit a wall where you can't deal with it anymore, and so you decide to intentionally lose weight. That is actually the case with Roxanne Gay, who is very tall. They are like 6 foot or 6'1", and prior to their weight loss surgery, they would have been categorized as a super fat.
We're talking about one person, right?
So being a super fat and being that tall comes with a particular type of
pause it for a second.
physical
Is super
accessibility.
fat an okay term?
Yeah.
Super fat.
Well, it's okay if she says it because she's
fat.
Well,
Super
is
fat.
she super fat?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know because I can't tell just from the pudgy face if she's super fat.
What kind of cape are you gonna need to fly if you're
I'm super fat.
It's got to be a strong cape.
It's got to be an SF on it too, because you're super fat.
What? You're not taking this to heart, Pat? She's trying to educate us.
Yeah, I know. She's really trying to legitimize her own existence right now.
100%.
That's all she's doing.
She is.
Look, I don't want to lose weight,
Right.
and I'm pissed off at anybody who does.
Yep. I'm lazy, and you should be
easy.
lazy too.
Yeah. Or I have no interest in trying to lose weight, or whatever her case may be, and that's fine. That's great. Just don't try to lecture the rest of society on your dumb hang-ups.
But what are her 3 reasons to people?
Well, let's get the third one here.
It was what was it? It was
First
desirability.
It
was for health,
and this third thing.
Challenge as well as anti-fatness, and so for that reason Roxanne Gay elected to have weight loss surgery. But it's really important that if you still go through with intentional weight loss that you don't sacrifice fat liberation politics, because otherwise it's still just fat phobia, even if you're doing it for your mental health
liberation
and
politics. Okay, let me see.
Yeah,
if I lose weight, I must maintain my fat liberation
politics.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try to remember that if I lose weight. So far, I've not been that successful in doing that, but I'm going to hang on to my fat liberation politics.
I found an article in Miss Magazine, the feminist history of fat liberation.
Okay,
and it just talks about.
Wow, what a weird society.
You can't. We are literally speaking 2 different languages.
Yeah, we are. And she has to tie in these other movements to try to legitimize her dumb movement here. So that's why the white supremacy, that's why the cisness, that's why hetero. So those are all desirable things, just like being skinny or thin is. And so it's just like every other movement in the world. You got the fat movement now.
Somebody recently tweeted out a picture. It's kind of stuck in my head for about the week or so since they posted it. And I forgot if it was Joe Bastardi may have posted this because he eats healthy. And I'm always checking his Twitter feed for when it's going to get cold again, which, by the way, buckle up into January.
Really?
Yeah.
Good,
He
good.
predicted, what's happening to California now? He predicted weeks in advance.
Tomorrow,
the cold snap at Christmas.
It's going to be 80.
I hate it.
81.
Yeah, I can't stand
tomorrow
it.
and the next day. So bring on the cold.
Oh yeah.
I don't want 80s in January.
This is the kind of weather when it's 80 degrees in January, the bugs are humping, and then the summer gets here and it's just gross, and there's mosquitoes everywhere. But I think it was he who tweeted out a picture of 1960s. Like a beach scene, and everybody was thin, everybody was in shape. There was nobody that was overweight or anything like that. And he was just talking about they started putting trans fats. People started going to fast food restaurants, stuff like that. America used to be fit. Yeah. We didn't have these catastrophic weight issues.
Wow, you are fat phobic.
Oh my
gosh.
Just by saying trans fats have ruined America.
Oh my gosh.
And our health. Because then once you're overweight, you've got health issues to worry about at that point that you wouldn't have had if you were
She's
not.
trying to claim you don't. She's trying to just,
she's pointing out my fat phobic.
Yes, she is.
Because I'm a hateful
Well, exactly.
Nasty, bad person.
Right.
I'm sorry for that, too.
Thank you for noticing, though, how hateful and terrible a person you are. We will see you on Overtime coming up later on.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.